You are not broke because you don't earn enough. You are broke because of how you think about money. And most people never realize this. Take a slow breath and allow your mind to settle for a moment. Because today, we are not talking about money itself, we are talking about the psychology of money, the hidden patterns, the quiet habits, the unnoticed behaviors that slowly shape your financial life. Let's begin, slowly and with awareness. The first pattern is spending to feel better. There are moments when you feel stressed, tired, or emotionally low. And in those moments, buying something feels like relief, a small reward, a temporary sense of control. But this feeling does not last, and so the habit repeats itself. You begin to spend not out of need, but out of emotion. And over time, your money slowly disappears without purpose. The second pattern is living only for the present moment. Enjoying life is important, but when there is no balance, no saving, no planning, no preparation, the future becomes uncertain. Many people tell themselves, "I'll manage it later." But later quietly turns into pressure, and that pressure builds over time. The third pattern is fear of taking financial steps. Some people avoid learning about money. They avoid investing. They avoid even small risks because it feels safer to do nothing. But staying still often leads to staying stuck, and slowly, fear becomes a barrier between you and growth. The fourth pattern is comparison. You see others living a certain lifestyle, buying things, traveling, enjoying visible success, and without realizing, you begin to compare your life to theirs. You feel the need to match that standard. But what you do not see is their reality, their income, their responsibilities, their choices. And slowly, you begin to spend beyond your limits just to feel equal. The fifth pattern is ignoring small expenses. A small purchase here, another small expense there. It feels harmless. It feels insignificant. But over time, these small amounts quietly grow. And when you finally notice, a large portion of your money has already been used without intention. The sixth pattern is negative beliefs about money. If you often think, "Money is hard to earn, I will never have enough," your mind begins to accept these thoughts as truth, and your actions follow. You stop exploring opportunities, you stop taking initiative, and slowly your reality begins to match your belief. The seventh pattern is lack of awareness. Most people do not observe their financial behavior. They do not track where their money goes. They do not pause to reflect. And without awareness, there is no direction. Money comes in and money goes out, without control, without clarity. Now take another slow breath, because here is the most important part. None of these patterns are permanent. They're not fixed. They are learned behaviors, and what is learned can be changed. When you begin to observe yourself, your habits, your decisions, your emotions, something shifts. You pause before spending. You think before reacting. You become more conscious, more intentional, more aware. And slowly, your relationship with money begins to transform. Not instantly, but gradually. And that gradual shift creates stability. So instead of asking, "Why am I always broke?" try asking, "What patterns am I repeating every day?" Because once you see the pattern, you gain the power to change it. And when you change the pattern, you create a new direction, a calmer, more balanced, and more mindful way of living with money. Take your time. There is no need to rush. Just stay aware one step at a time, because real financial change does not begin with money, it begins with the mind. Most people don't have a money problem, they have a thinking problem. And until that changes, nothing else really changes. Take a gentle breath and allow yourself to slow down, because this is not about numbers or income or luck. This is about the way your mind responds to money every single day. Let's explore this step by step. One common pattern is chasing comfort instead of control. There are moments when life feels heavy, and in those moments, spending money feels like a quick escape. It gives a sense of relief, even if it's temporary. But slowly, this becomes a habit, a silent routine. You begin to associate money with emotional comfort. And without realizing, your control begins to slip away. Another pattern is avoiding financial responsibility, not because you don't care, but because it feels overwhelming. Budgets, planning, tracking, they all feel complicated. So you delay it, you ignore it. You tell yourself you will handle it later. But when something is ignored, it does not disappear. It quietly grows until it becomes difficult to manage. There is also a pattern of believing that more money will solve everything. It feels logical. If I earn more, things will be better. But in reality, if habits remain the same, more money only creates bigger mistakes. Because money does not fix behavior, it reveals it. And whatever patterns exist now will continue, just on a larger scale. Another subtle pattern is seeking status through spending. Sometimes it is not about the item itself, it is about what it represents. Approval, recognition, acceptance. You want to feel valued, so you spend in a way that reflects a certain image. But that image comes at a cost. And over time, it creates pressure instead of confidence. There is also a lack of patience. Building financial stability takes time, but many people want quick results, quick success, quick growth. And when results are slow, they lose focus. They jump from one idea to another, one plan to another, and this constant shifting prevents real progress. Another important pattern is disconnect from long-term thinking. When decisions are made only for today, without considering tomorrow, the future becomes uncertain. Saving feels like sacrifice. Planning feels restrictive. But in reality, it creates freedom. And without it, financial stress slowly builds. And then there is a quiet pattern, a lack of self-trust. When you don't trust your own decisions, you hesitate, you delay action, you depend on others. And this hesitation slows everything down because growth requires movement, and movement requires confidence. Now, pause for a moment and take a deeper breath, because none of this is meant to feel heavy. It is meant to create awareness, because awareness is where change begins. When you start noticing your patterns, your reactions, your habits, you begin to gain control. You no longer act automatically. You begin to choose more carefully, more consciously. And slowly, your relationship with money evolves. It becomes calmer, more stable, more intentional. Not perfect, but better. So instead of asking, why do I never have enough money? Ask yourself, what habits are guiding my decisions every day? Because your habits create your outcomes, and when your habits shift, your results begin to change. Take it one step at a time. There is no pressure, no rush, just quiet awareness and small adjustments. Because in the end, financial growth is not about chasing money, it is about understanding yourself. And once you understand yourself, everything else begins to align.